What if the biggest star in the world felt like the loneliest person? Could a man who sold 1 billion records still feel like nobody was really listening? Did the screams of thousands of fans just make the silence afterward feel louder? Elvis Presley was a global icon. But behind the gold records and the sold-out shows, there was a man. And that man often sang about a deep, painful feeling of being misunderstood. His songs weren't always just about losing a girl. They were often about losing himself, about being trapped, and about a loneliness so big it could fill a stadium. Number 19, why was he living in a world of his own? Elvis recorded "I'm in a Crowd, but oh so alone" on February 5th, 1957. This was at the height of his initial fame. He had just finished his second movie, Loving You. Less than a year before, he had appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show, where 60 million people watched him. That was 1 in 3 Americans at the time. Yet he walked into Radio Recorder's studio in Hollywood and sang a song about profound isolation. The session was for the Loving You soundtrack, a film designed to capitalize on his image as a teen idol. But the song itself tells a completely different story. So, what does it mean to be surrounded by people and still be completely alone? Elvis knew this song wasn't written by him. It was written by Vic McAlpin and Abner Silver. But the way he sang it made it his own story. The music is slow, almost like a funeral march. It's not a rock and roll song. It's a confession. He starts by describing the scene. There's a dance floor. It's crowded with people laughing and having fun. This should be a happy place. But for him, it's a prison. His voice is soft. There's a tremble in it. He sings. The music is playing. They're dancing and swaying. He's an observer, not a participant. He's watching life happen from behind a glass wall. He feels disconnected from all the joy around him. The core of his pain is simple. I'm in a crowd, but oh so alone. He repeats this line. It's the central truth of his life at that moment. The reason is a familiar one in music. His love has left him. You're gone, and my world has tumbled down. But it's more than just a breakup song. It's about the state of being that follows the heartbreak. It's about how that one loss poisons everything else. The happy crowd doesn't make him feel better. It makes him feel worse. Their happiness highlights his own misery. He feels like a ghost at a party. Nobody can see his pain. They just see a young man standing in a corner. They don't understand that he's living in a completely different reality. A reality made of memory and loss. He sings about how everything reminds him of her. I see your face in every crowd. This is a classic symptom of grief. He's haunted. The world is no longer just the world. It's a collection of reminders of what he's lost. This feeling of being haunted is a form of being misunderstood. The world moves on. The band keeps playing. People keep dancing. But he's stuck. He's trapped in a moment of pain that nobody else can see or feel. His internal world is completely out of sync with the external world. The performance is what sells the devastation. I think Elvis could sing anything and make you believe it. Here, he's not the swaggering king of rock and roll. He's a vulnerable boy. You can hear the emptiness in the recording. The space between the notes feels as important as the notes themselves. It's a quiet, desperate plea. He's not shouting his pain. He's whispering it. And that's almost more heartbreaking. It's a pain so deep he can barely give it voice. This was recorded for a movie where he played a delivery boy who becomes a star. The irony is staggering. He's playing a character whose life is about to become a whirlwind of fame and adoration. And in the middle of that, he records this song about being completely, utterly alone in a crowd. It was a preview of his own future. For the next 20 years, he would live in a crowd. He would be surrounded by his entourage, the Memphis Mafia. He would be mobbed by fans. He would perform for sold-out arenas. And by many accounts, he would remain oh so alone. The world saw the smiling superstar. They didn't see the man trapped inside. They misunderstood the image for the reality. This song, recorded when he was just 22 years old, laid out the blueprint for the rest of his life. Number 18 was his only home, a lonely street. When Elvis recorded Heartbreak Hotel on January 10th, 1956, he was only 20 years old. RCA Records, his new label, hated the song. They thought it was morbid, strange, and nothing like his Sun Records hits. One executive famously said it would ruin his career. The song was inspired by a real newspaper article about a man who had taken his own life, leaving a note that said, "I walk a lonely street." Elvis fought for the song. He knew it was something different. He knew it was something real. This song is the ultimate anthem of misunderstanding. It's not just about a guy being sad over a girl. It's about an entire subculture of broken people. He's not just singing about his own pain. He's singing about a place where all the lonely people go. Heartbreak Hotel. It's a destination, a physical place for emotional exiles. This is a profound concept for a pop song in 1956. The world is full of happy people in love. But what about the others? Where do they go? They go to a place at the end of Lonely Street. The sound of the record is as important as the lyrics. It's sparse and full of echo. It sounds like it was recorded in a cavernous, empty room. That was intentional. The producer, Steve Schultz, tried to recreate the echo sound of Elvis's Sun Records. He did it by putting a speaker at one end of a long hallway and a microphone at the other. The result is haunting. Elvis's voice sounds like a ghost's. It floats and moans. It's disconnected and otherworldly. The lyrics paint a grim picture. The bellhop's tears keep flowing. The desk clerk's dressed in black. This isn't a normal hotel. It's a place of perpetual mourning. The people who work there are as broken as the guests. It's a community built on shared misery. And what do they do at this hotel? They'll be so lonely, baby. Well, they're so lonely they could die. This is not teenage angst. This is existential despair. And it's coming from a 20-year-old kid who is supposed to be the symbol of youthful rebellion and fun. The world misunderstood what Elvis was. They saw the hip-swiveling rocker. They heard the wild energy in blue suede shoes. They didn't see the old soul who was drawn to this dark, bluesy material. Heartbreak Hotel was his first single for RCA. It was his introduction to the mainstream world. And with it, he was telling them, "I'm not who you think I am." He was showing them a deep well of sadness and empathy that most people didn't know he had. He was telling them that he understood loneliness. The guitar solo by Scotty Moore is sharp and piercing. It cuts through the gloom like a shard of glass. It's not a flashy solo. It's full of tension and release. It sounds as lonely as Elvis's voice. DJ Fontana's drumming is simple, almost just a heartbeat. A slow, tired heartbeat. The whole song creates a mood of desolation. When people bought this record, they weren't just buying a song. They were buying a feeling that it was okay to be lonely, that someone else understood, someone famous, someone who was supposed to have it all. He was giving a voice to the misunderstood, the people who felt like they were on the outside looking in. The song went to #1. It sold millions of copies. The RCA executives were wrong. The public understood. Or at least they were drawn to the mystery and the raw emotion of it. But for Elvis, the fight to record it was the first of many battles. He was constantly fighting to be understood as an artist, not just a product. Heartbreak Hotel was his declaration of independence. A declaration that he would sing about the dark corners of the human heart, whether the world was ready for it or not. Number 17 was Love, Just a Cruel Game. A Fool Such as I was recorded in Nashville on June 10th, 1958. Elvis was on a 3-day leave from the U.S. Army. He was about to be shipped to Germany. His mother, Gladys, was in declining health and would pass away just 2 months later. The world was changing for him in a dramatic way. He recorded this song in a small, intimate session. It feels personal. It feels like he's working through something heavy. This song is about being misunderstood in love. It's about giving your whole heart to someone who is just playing games. The opening lines set the stage. Pardon me if I'm sentimental when we say goodbye. He's apologizing for having feelings. This is a classic sign of being in a relationship with someone who doesn't value your emotions. He feels like he has to make excuses for his own heart. He's being made to feel like his love is an inconvenience. The lyrics are a masterclass in self-deprecation. Now I know that you aren't the one to blame. He's taking all the responsibility for the heartbreak. He's calling himself the fool. Why? Because he chose to love someone who was incapable of loving him back. I'm a fool, but I'll love you dear until the day I die. This isn't a healthy perspective. It's the perspective of someone who has been so thoroughly manipulated that they believe the pain is their own fault. They misunderstand the dynamic. They think their devotion is noble, when really it's a symptom of a toxic relationship. His vocal performance is incredibly nuanced. He sings with a kind of gentle resignation. There's no anger in his voice, just a deep, profound sadness. He's not railing against the injustice of it all. He's accepted his fate. He's a fool, and that's that. The backing vocals from the Jordanaires are soft and smooth. They act like a Greek chorus, echoing his sad acceptance. They create a lush bed of sound for his lead vocal to rest on. The song asks a devastating question. Why can't I be smart and cool and ever so carefree? He's looking at the person who broke his heart, and he's seen someone who can walk away without a scratch. He's wondering why he can't be like that. Why does he have to feel everything so deeply? This is the cry of every sensitive person who has ever been made to feel like their emotions are a weakness. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of who he is. He's not built to be smart and cool in that way. His depth of feeling is his greatest gift as an artist, but in this context it feels like a curse. The recording session itself was a brief escape from a much harsher reality. He was a private in the army. He had to follow orders. His famous hair was cut short. He was just another soldier. This loss of identity must have been jarring. Then he would step into the studio and become Elvis Presley again, but an Elvis who was facing the impending loss of his mother and an uncertain future. All of that anxiety and sadness is channeled into this performance. A Fool Such as I became a huge hit. People loved the melody and the sentiment, but did they understand the deep-seated self-blame in the lyrics? Did they understand that it's a song about someone whose love is treated as a joke? He's misunderstood by his lover, and in a way, he misunderstands himself. He thinks he's the fool. But the real fool is the one who would throw away a love so pure and so complete. He's trapped in a narrative where he is the problem. It's a quiet, devastating portrait of emotional manipulation. Number 16, Can You Be a Stranger in Your Own Hometown? On February 17th, 1969, Elvis was recording at American Sound Studio in Memphis. This was a legendary series of sessions that would produce the From Elvis in Memphis album. He was reclaiming his artistic credibility after years of making bad movies. He was back in his home state, working with a gritty, soulful band known as the Memphis Boys. He was home, and yet he recorded a song called Stranger in My Own Hometown. The session for this song went late into the night, from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. It took 8 takes to capture the raw, feral energy he was looking for. This song is the definition of feeling misunderstood and alienated. It's a blues song written by Percy Mayfield, but Elvis makes it a personal testament. He sings about walking down the streets of his own town and feeling like a complete outsider. I'm wondering how. How in the world did it happen to me? He's bewildered. How did he become a foreigner in the one place he's supposed to belong? The performance is electrifying. It's raw and bluesy. His voice is rough and full of grit. He's not the polished pop singer. He's a man singing from his gut. You can hear the frustration and the anger. He's practically shouting the lyrics. The band is locked in a tight, funky groove. The organ swirls around him. The bass line is menacing. It's the sound of a man on the edge. The lyrics are a powerful metaphor for his life. By 1969, Memphis had changed. And Elvis had changed. He wasn't the young kid who used to work at Crown Electric anymore. He was a global superstar. When he came home, he couldn't just walk down Beale Street. He was a prisoner of his own fame. He had to stay behind the walls of Graceland. The hometown he remembered was gone, or at least inaccessible to him. He was literally a stranger in it. People would see him and not see the person. They would see the icon. That's a profound form of being misunderstood. They see the legend, not the man. He sings, "They're all staring at me like they see a ghost." This is a brilliant line. He's not a person to them. He's a spectacle. an apparition from their past. He's a memory, not a living, breathing human being. This feeling of being an object, of being looked at but not seen, is a recurring theme in his life and music. The world consumed his image, but they didn't understand the man behind it. The song also touches on a deeper, more existential loneliness. It's not just about fame, it's about the feeling of not fitting in anywhere. I'm going to pack my clothes and I'm going to move on out of this town. Where will he go? It doesn't matter. Anywhere is better than this place where he's supposed to belong, but doesn't. This desire to escape, to run away, is a constant in his work. He's always searching for a place where he can just be himself. A place where he's not a stranger. The American Sound Sessions were a triumph. They proved that Elvis was still a vital, relevant artist. But this song reveals the cost of that artistry. It shows the deep sense of alienation that fueled his comeback. He wasn't just singing the blues, he was living them. He was a man who had conquered the world, but in the process had lost his home. He was misunderstood by the very people who should have known him best, his own hometown. They loved the idea of him, but the reality of him was a stranger they stared at on the street. Number 15, what does it mean when your tears are out of season? Andy Day Now was also recorded during the American Sound Studio sessions in Memphis on February 20th, 1969. It was originally a hit for Chuck Jackson in 1962, but Elvis's version is a different beast entirely. It's more dramatic, more desperate. It's the sound of a man watching his world crumble in slow motion. The song was arranged by the legendary Chips Moman, who produced the entire album. He knew how to frame Elvis's voice to extract the maximum amount of emotion. This song is about the anxiety of an impending ending. It's not about the heartbreak that has already happened. It's about the heartbreak that is coming. Any day now, I will hear you say goodbye, my love. He's living on borrowed time. This creates a unique kind of tension. He's trapped in a relationship that he knows is doomed. His partner is still there physically, but emotionally, they're already gone. He is completely powerless. The lyrics explore this feeling of helplessness. Then my wild, beautiful bird, you will have flown. He sees his love as something beautiful and free, something he can't hold on to, and he sees himself as the cage. This is a painful self-awareness. He understands his role in this dynamic, but he can't change it. He's waiting for the inevitable. This is a very specific type of being misunderstood. He can see the end, but he can't communicate his fear or change the outcome. He has to just sit and wait for the pain to arrive. His vocal performance is one of his best from this period. He starts off softly, almost conversationally, but as the song builds, so does the intensity in his voice. The chorus is a powerful soaring plea. Oh, my wild, beautiful bird, you will have flown. You can hear the desperation in his voice. He's begging for it not to be true, even though he knows it is. The horns and strings in the arrangement swell around him, adding to the drama. It feels cinematic. The most devastating line is, my tears are out of season. What does that mean? It means he's crying at the wrong time. He's grieving for a loss that hasn't officially happened yet. People would look at him and not understand his sadness. Why are you so upset? She's still here. They don't see what he sees. They don't feel the coldness that has crept into the relationship. He is emotionally isolated. His grief is premature, so it's invalid in the eyes of the world. He's misunderstood because his internal emotional clock is different from everyone else's. This song, recorded during his 1969 comeback, shows a new maturity in his work. He's not just singing about teenage love. He's singing about adult relationships with all their complexity and pain. He was 34 years old. He had been married to Priscilla for 2 years. Their relationship was already showing signs of strain. It's impossible not to hear his own life in this song. He was living in the public eye in a marriage that was supposed to be a fairy tale. But perhaps he felt this sense of impending doom. Perhaps he felt like he was crying out of season for a love that was slipping away. The world saw the triumphant king back on his throne. They saw the confident performer in his black leather suit from the '68 comeback special. They didn't see the man who was afraid of being left, the man who felt his beautiful bird was about to fly away. And Day Now is a masterpiece of emotional turmoil. It's the sound of a man who understands his fate but is powerless to stop it, and no one else around him can see the storm that's about to break. Number 14, Is It Possible to Be Trapped by Your Own Love? The recording of Suspicious Minds is one of the most famous stories in Elvis's career. It was recorded at American Sound Studio in the early morning hours of January 23rd, 1969. The song's writer, Mark James, was there, the producer, Chips Moman, was there, and Elvis was on fire. He poured everything he had into this song. But there was a problem. Elvis's publishing company, controlled by his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, wanted a piece of the song. Moman refused. The whole session was in jeopardy, a stalemate. Elvis was caught in the middle. Finally, Elvis took a stand against his own management and sided with Moman. Well, they finished the song. Suspicious Minds is an anthem of being misunderstood in a relationship. It's about a love that is being destroyed by doubt and mistrust. We're caught in a trap, I can't walk out, because I love you too much, baby. This is one of the great opening lines in pop music. It establishes the central conflict immediately. He's in a prison, but it's a prison he doesn't want to leave. The trap is made of his own love. The song's structure is unique. It builds and builds in intensity, then fades out, only to come roaring back to life. This false ending was Chips Moman's idea. It mirrors the lyrical theme. Just when you think the argument is over, just when you think the relationship might be okay, the conflict comes back stronger than ever. It's a cycle of pain and suspicion that they can't escape. The lyrics describe a conversation between two lovers who can't see eye to eye. Why can't you see what you're doing to me when you don't believe a word I say? He's pleading for understanding. He's trying to explain his feelings, but his words are falling on deaf ears. His partner sees his old friends, and they see betrayal. They hear him talk, and they hear lies. His intentions are completely misunderstood. He feels like he's on trial for a crime he didn't commit. His vocal performance is a tour de force. He moves from a gentle, pleading tone in the verses to a full-throated, desperate roar in the chorus. You can hear the frustration in his voice. You can feel his heart breaking. The Memphis Boys provide a driving, relentless rhythm. It feels like a chase scene. He's running from the suspicion, but he can't get away. The horns punctuate his vocal with sharp, jabbing phrases. It's a sound of pure emotional chaos. The core of the misunderstanding is in the lines, "We can't go on together with suspicious minds, and we can't build our dreams on suspicious minds." He understands the problem. He knows that trust is the foundation of love, and their foundation has crumbled. But he can't fix it alone. It takes two people to build trust, and his partner is not willing. He's trapped. He can either leave and lose the person he loves, or stay and live in this hell of doubt. This song became his last #1 hit in the United States during his lifetime. It was the centerpiece of his triumphant return to live performing in Las Vegas. Millions of people sang along to it. But it's a deeply unhappy song. It's a song about a relationship that is failing. People dance to it. They celebrated to it. But at its heart, it's a cry of desperation. A cry from a man who feels completely and totally misunderstood by the person who should understand him best. The joy of the music is at war with the pain of the lyrics. And in that conflict, you can find the story of Elvis's life. The smiling performer on stage hiding a world of hurt inside. Number 13, What If Your Only Sin Was Being Born? In March 1968, the world was in turmoil. The Vietnam War was raging. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated just a month later in Memphis. There was a feeling of anger and division in the air. Elvis Presley, who had spent the 60s in a Hollywood bubble, was starting to re-engage with the world. He wanted to say something meaningful. He found the song that would let him do it in the Ghetto. It was written by Mac Davis. At first, Elvis was hesitant to record it. He was worried it was too political. Colonel Parker was definitely against it. But Elvis believed in the song's message. He recorded it at American Sound Studio on January 20th, 1969. In the Ghetto is a story song. It's a narrative of a life, from birth to death. It's about a boy born into poverty in Chicago. On a cold and gray Chicago morn, a poor little baby child is born. The song immediately establishes a sense of hopelessness. This isn't a happy occasion. It's the beginning of a struggle. The world has already judged this child. His mother cries because she knows what his life will be. She knows that a hungry little boy with a runny nose is all that she can give him in the ghetto. This song is about being misunderstood on a societal level. The boy in the song is not seen as an individual. He's seen as a statistic, a problem. The world doesn't try to understand his circumstances. They just see an angry young man. He grows up hungry. He learns to steal and fight to survive. The system has failed him, but the world will blame him for his own failure. They will misunderstand his desperation as criminality. Elvis's vocal is restrained and full of empathy. He's not singing as himself. He's a narrator, a storyteller. He's bearing witness to this tragedy. There's a deep sadness in his voice. He's not judging the boy. He's mourning for him. He's trying to make the listener understand the cycle of poverty and violence. The chorus is a plea for empathy. And his hungry babies cry, and the cycle turns, and the world just turns away. The world misunderstands its own role in this tragedy. It turns away. It pretends the problem doesn't exist. The most powerful part of the song is the ending. The young man is killed, and as he dies, another baby is born in the ghetto. The cycle continues. This is a devastatingly bleak conclusion. There is no hope offered, just the cold, hard reality. Elvis is forcing the listener to confront an uncomfortable truth. He's saying that we are all responsible. Our misunderstanding, our apathy allows this to happen again and again. For Elvis, this was a huge risk. He was the king of rock and roll. His audience was largely white and conservative. A song like this could have alienated them. But he did it anyway. He used his massive platform to talk about social injustice. He was misunderstood by many who thought a singer should just sing about love and fun. They didn't want to hear this from him. But he insisted. He was showing a side of himself that had always been there, but that he had rarely been allowed to show. The poor boy from Tupelo, Mississippi had never forgotten where he came from. He understood what it was like to be hungry. He understood what it was like to be looked down on. The song was a massive hit. It reached number 3 on the charts. It proved that Elvis could be a serious, socially conscious artist. It opened a new chapter in his career. But more importantly, it was an act of profound empathy. He was trying to bridge a gap of misunderstanding. He was asking his audience to look at a poor kid from the ghetto and see not a threat, but a human being. A human being trapped in a cycle he did not create. Number 12. How do you tell a child her world is breaking apart? By 1972, Elvis's marriage to Priscilla was over. They had been separated for a while, and the divorce was looming. It was a painful public end to a relationship that had defined much of his adult life. In the midst of this personal turmoil, he went into RCA's Studio C in Hollywood on March 27, 1972. He recorded a song that laid his heart bare. Separate Ways. The song was written by Red West, one of his oldest friends and a member of his Memphis Mafia, along with Richard Menegra. West saw Elvis's pain up close and channeled it into this song. Separate Ways is a brutal, honest look at the end of a marriage, especially when there's a child involved. It's a conversation, a sad, quiet explanation. You're talking to me, I know, but I can't hear a word you say. The communication is completely broken down. They are in the same room, but they are miles apart. They are misunderstanding each other on the most fundamental level. They no longer speak the same emotional language. The song's focus is on their daughter, Lisa Marie. This is what makes it so devastating. He's not just mourning the loss of his wife. He's mourning the loss of his family. He's trying to figure out how to explain this to a little girl. How do we tell her? What do we say that we're not happy in this home we've made? He's grappling with an impossible task. How do you make a child understand adult failure? Any explanation will be a misunderstanding for her. Her world is being torn in two, and she can't possibly grasp why. Elvis's performance is incredibly subdued and full of pain. His voice is gentle, almost a whisper at times. He's not the rock and roll showman. He's a father in agony. You can hear the tears behind the words. He's not singing to an audience of millions. He's singing to an audience of one, his ex-wife. He's trying to find the right words, but he knows there are none. The chorus is a simple, heartbreaking statement of fact. Someday, we'll go our separate ways. It's inevitable. It's a future he can't escape. But the part that really hurts is the next line. And I know she'll be crying when we go our separate ways. He can see his daughter's future pain, and it's killing him. He feels responsible. He feels like a failure. The world saw the divorce as another celebrity scandal. They read the headlines. They gossiped about the reasons. They misunderstood the private hell that he was going through. They didn't see the father who was worried about breaking his daughter's heart. The song offers a small glimmer of hope, but it's a sad one. Maybe we'll find a new world, a new life. But he immediately undercuts it. But there'll be no one to tuck her in at night. This is the practical reality of divorce. The small, intimate moments of family life will be gone forever. This is a detail that only a parent would think of. It's what makes the song so real and so painful. Separate Ways was released as a single paired with Always on My Mind. It was a moderate hit, but its importance isn't in its chart position. Its importance is in its honesty. It's a rare glimpse behind the curtain of celebrity. It's the sound of a man who has everything the world can offer, but all he wants is the one thing he's losing: his family. He feels misunderstood by the world, by his wife, and he's about to be misunderstood by his own child. It's a song about the complete and utter collapse of communication and connection. Number 11. Could he ever really explain the man inside? On June 23rd, 1968, Elvis was taping his television special, later known as the 68 comeback special. He had been out of the public eye for years, making movies. This was his chance to prove he was still relevant. The show's producer, Steve Binder, wanted to end the show with a big, positive message. The original plan was to have Elvis sing a standard Christmas song, but Binder felt that was a cop-out. The world was a mess. Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy had both been assassinated in the months leading up to the taping. Binder wanted Elvis to say something about the state of the world. The show's musical director, Billy Goldenberg, and the songwriter, Walter Earl Brown, were tasked with writing a song overnight. They came back with If I Can Dream. When Elvis first heard the song, he said, "I'm never going to sing a song I don't believe in." He read the lyrics. They were inspired by Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. They were about hope, peace, and understanding. Elvis looked at the writers and said, "I'll do it." He believed in every word. If I Can Dream is a plea for a better world. It's a song about a man who looks around at all the pain and confusion and dares to imagine something better. There must be lights burning brighter somewhere. Got to be birds flying higher in a sky more blue. He's starting from a place of darkness. He's acknowledging the reality of the world's problems, but he refuses to give in to despair. The song is a direct challenge to misunderstanding. It's about breaking down the walls that separate people. We're lost in a cloud with too much rain. We're trapped in a world that's troubled with pain. He's saying that we are all in this together, but we are acting like we're not. We are misunderstanding each other. We are letting fear and hatred divide us. He's asking, what if we chose a different path? If I can dream of a better land where all my brothers walk hand in hand, tell me why, oh why can't my dream come true? His performance is one of the most passionate of his entire career. He's dressed in a white suit. He's standing alone on the stage. He's not singing. He's testifying. He's pouring every ounce of his being into the song. His fists are clenched. His eyes are closed. He's on his knees at one point. It's a raw, emotional, and completely electrifying performance. You are watching a man who desperately wants the world to be a better place. The song also works on a personal level. Elvis felt trapped. He was trapped by his fame, by his manager, by his movie contracts. He was misunderstood as just a handsome movie star, a relic of the 50s. This song was his dream of a new beginning, a dream of a world where he could be seen as a serious artist again. As long as a man has the strength to dream, he can redeem his soul and fly. He was redeeming himself in front of the whole world. He was showing them the man he was, not the character he had been playing. The world was shocked. They had never seen this side of Elvis. The rebellious kid was gone. The silly movie actor was gone. In their place was a mature, passionate man who cared deeply about the world. He was using his voice to call for unity and understanding. It was the perfect end to the show. It catapulted him back to the top of the music world. But the dream was fragile. The world didn't magically change, and Elvis's own life would become more isolated, not less. But for that one moment on that one stage, he made everyone believe, he made everyone understand his hope. If I Can Dream is the sound of a man fighting against all the darkness in the world and inside himself armed with nothing but a dream. A dream that he, and all of us, could one day be truly understood. Number 10, was he searching for someone who was already gone? January 20th, 1969. Another night at American Sound Studio in Memphis. Elvis is tired, but he's still working. The song is Kentucky Rain. It was written by Eddie Rabbitt and Dick Hurd. It tells a very specific story. A man is walking and hitchhiking through the cold Kentucky rain, searching for the woman he loves. He drove her away, and now he's desperate to find her and bring her back. It's a song about regret and desperation. This is a story of a man who fundamentally misunderstood his relationship until it was too late. 7 lonely days and a dozen towns ago, I reached out one night and you were gone. He took her for granted. He didn't see how unhappy she was. He didn't listen. Now he's paying the price. He's forced to physically retrace his steps to search for her in the same way he's now emotionally searching for what he lost. The song is incredibly atmospheric. You can almost feel the cold rain. The production is brilliant. The piano, played by Ronnie Milsap, sounds like falling raindrops. The strings swell like a gust of wind. Elvis's voice is the main focus. It's filled with a sense of urgency and exhaustion. Kentucky rain keeps pouring down, and I'm feeling cold and tired and all alone. He's not just emotionally drained. He's physically beaten down by his quest. He's talking to himself and to the rain. He's asking it to help him. Show me a sign to help me find my way. He's lost in every sense of the word. Geographically lost and emotionally lost. He's a man completely adrift. This quest is his only purpose now. He has to find her. He has to make her understand that he's changed. Or, more accurately, that he finally understands what he had. The misunderstanding here is his own. He was the one who didn't see. I love you. I've been a fool. He admits it. But his admission comes too late. The song doesn't have a happy ending. He doesn't find her. The song ends with him still searching. Still walking in the rain. I'm gonna find you if I have to crawl. It's a promise to himself, but it's a promise that might never be kept. Elvis's performance makes the story so vivid. You can picture him on the side of a dark, wet road. You can feel his hope fading with the daylight. The way he sings the word lonely is a masterclass in vocal acting. He stretches the word out, fills it with all the emptiness he's feeling. The song became a big hit in 1970. It was another sign that the Memphis sessions had completely revitalized his career. People connected with the story. The feeling of wanting a second chance. The pain of realizing your mistake too late. But for Elvis, it may have been more personal. He was a man who often pushed people away, only to regret it later. His life was a series of goodbyes. His mother, his army buddies, his old bandmates, his wife. He was always searching for something or someone. This song captures that feeling of a desperate, lonely search. He's trying to communicate his regret, but the person who needs to hear it isn't there. He's shouting his apology into the rain, and the only answer is the sound of the storm. Number 9, What If the Stage is the Loneliest Place on Earth? Solitaire is a song from late in Elvis's career. He recorded it on March 11th, 1976, at his home studio in Graceland. He was in poor health, he was overweight, he He was tired. The song, written by Neil Sedaka and Phil Cody, is about a man who is an expert at the card game of solitaire. But the game is just a metaphor for his life. A life lived in complete isolation. This is one of the most stark and devastating songs Elvis ever recorded. It's a portrait of a man who has built walls around himself. There was a man, a lonely man, who lost his love through his indifference. The song tells us the reason for his loneliness right away. It was his own fault. He didn't know how to show love. He didn't know how to connect. He misunderstood the basics of human relationships. The chorus is a chilling image. And solitaire is the only game in town. And every road that you take, you'll always see him there. He is a permanent fixture of loneliness. He's not just playing a game, he has become the game. He is solitaire. A man who exists only with himself. He's trapped in a world of one. Elvis's vocal performance is raw and exposed. His voice is still powerful, but there's a fragility to it, a weariness. He sounds like he knows this character intimately. By 1976, Elvis was living a life of extreme isolation. He rarely left Graceland. His world had shrunk to a small circle of employees and friends. He was surrounded by people, but he was profoundly alone. He was the most famous man in the world, but he couldn't go to the grocery store. He couldn't walk in a park. His life was a game of solitaire played out in a jungle-themed room. The lyrics describe his daily routine. A little hope goes up in smoke. Just try to remember, and she's gone. He's haunted by the memory of the love he lost. But he can't even hold on to the memory properly. It slips through his fingers. His emotional world is as empty as his social one. He has pushed everyone away. He doesn't know how to let anyone in. The misunderstanding in this song is internal. He has misunderstood himself and the nature of happiness. He thought he could live without connection. He was wrong. Now he's left with nothing but a deck of cards and his regrets. The world saw the jump-suited superstar, the living legend, performing in Las Vegas. They saw the adoring crowds. They didn't see the lonely man in his room, playing a game against himself and losing every time. The song is a quiet tragedy. There's no big dramatic moment, just the slow, steady rhythm of a life wasting away. Keeping to himself, he plays the game. Without her love, it's not the same. He's going through the motions of life, but the meaning is gone. This is what happens when you are so misunderstood, or so unable to make yourself understood that you give up trying. You retreat into yourself. You choose solitaire over the messy, complicated, beautiful game of life with other people. Elvis didn't write the song, but he didn't have to. He was living it. Number 8. Does saying goodbye mean you'll be forgotten? I'll Remember You is a beautiful, sad ballad written by Quealy. Elvis first performed it during his Aloha from Hawaii concert in 1973. It was a global satellite broadcast watched by over 1 billion people. He recorded the studio version on June 10, 1966, for the soundtrack of his movie Spin Out. But the live version from Hawaii is the one that matters. It's imbued with a deep sense of melancholy and farewell. The song is a promise to remember someone after they are gone. I'll remember you long after this endless summer is gone. It's a song about the passing of time and the attempt to hold on to a perfect moment, but there's a sadness to it. The very act of promising to remember implies an impending separation. It's a song sung on the edge of a goodbye. I think Elvis's performance in Hawaii is breathtaking. He's at the peak of his vocal powers. He sings with incredible control and emotion. The song is a love letter to Hawaii, a place he loved. But it's also more than that. It feels like he's singing to his own past. To the young man he used to be. To the simpler times before fame became a prison. I'll remember you and all the things that you do. He's trying to hold on to his memories. The misunderstanding here is a gentle one. It's the misunderstanding that comes with time and distance. People change, relationships end, life moves on. The person you were 10 years ago is a stranger in some ways. And Elvis is looking back, and he's trying to bridge that gap. He's trying to tell the past that it's not forgotten. He's trying to make sense of his own journey. The lyrics are full of beautiful, fleeting images. The sound of the sea, the taste of the rain. These are sensory memories, the kind that stick with you long after the details have faded. He's not remembering facts. He's remembering feelings. This is a very personal and intimate way to remember someone. He's promising to keep the emotional truth of their time together alive. For an audience of 1 billion people, the song was a beautiful moment in a spectacular show. But for Elvis, it must have felt deeply personal. His life was a series of hellos and goodbyes. People came into his orbit, and then they were gone. He was the constant, the star that everyone revolved around. But that must have been a lonely position. "I'll remember you" is his way of acknowledging the people who had passed through his life. It's a way of saying, "You mattered. I haven't forgotten." In a life where so many people wanted something from him, where so many relationships were based on his fame and money, a song like this feels like a search for something real. A real connection. A real memory that can't be bought or sold. He's worried about being forgotten, or worse, being remembered for the wrong reasons. Being remembered as the caricature, the icon. He wants to be remembered as the person who felt these things. The person who loved the sound of the sea. This song is his attempt to communicate his true self, the self that existed beyond the stage lights. An attempt to be understood not as a legend, but as a man. Number 7. How much can one man be expected to bear? On January 15th, 1969, during the legendary American Sound Studio sessions, Elvis recorded a song called "You Gave Me a Mountain." It was written by country singer Marty Robbins. Robbins wrote it when he was going through a difficult divorce. It's a song about being hit with one tragedy after another. It's a story of incredible hardship told with a mix of defiance and exhaustion. Elvis started performing it live in 1969, and it became a staple of his concerts for the rest of his career. The song is a list of losses. It starts small. "Born in the heat of the desert, my mother died giving me life. A tragic beginning. Deprived of the love of a father, blamed for the loss of his wife. He's misunderstood from birth." He's blamed for something he had no control over. This sets the pattern for his whole life. He is a victim of circumstances, but the world sees him as the cause. The song continues to pile on the pain. He gets married, but his wife leaves him. "She came to me with a book of poems and told me of a man." A quiet, devastating betrayal. Then, the ultimate blow. She takes their child. "She left me with a tiny hand, waving goodbye." He has lost everything. His mother, his father's love, his wife, and now his child. The chorus is where the song's power lies. He's not just complaining, he's talking to God. "You gave me a mountain you know I can't climb." It's a cry of protest. It's too much. The burden is too heavy. He's accusing God of being cruel, of giving him an impossible task. This is a bold and powerful statement. It's a man at the end of his rope, shaking his fist at the heavens. Elvis's live performances of this song were incredible. He would start off calm, telling the story. As the song progressed, his voice would get stronger and more emotional. By the end, he was delivering a full-blown operatic performance. It was pure melodrama, but it was powerful. He was acting out this story of suffering, and the audience was captivated. Why did he connect so strongly with this song? On the surface, his life was the opposite of the man in the song. He was rich, famous, and adored, but emotionally he felt these burdens. He had lost his mother at a young age, a loss he never truly recovered from. His father had remarried, which caused tension. His own marriage was falling apart. He felt the immense pressure of his career, a mountain of expectations. He felt misunderstood by the press, by his manager, and sometimes by his own fans. When he sang this song, he was channeling all of his own pain and frustration into the character. He was giving voice to his own struggles, but through the filter of a story. It was a way for him to express his feelings without having to confess them directly. The world saw a powerful performance. They didn't necessarily see the real man underneath, a man who felt like he had been given a mountain he couldn't climb, a man who felt unfairly burdened by a life that, from the outside, looked perfect. The song was his therapy. A way to scream his pain in front of thousands of people and have them misunderstand it as just great entertainment. Number 6, what if you have to watch someone you love suffer? It Hurts Me is a hidden gem in Elvis's discography. He recorded it on January 12th, 1964. This was deep in his Hollywood period, and he was churning out movie after movie, and the soundtracks were getting weaker and weaker. But in the middle of all that, he recorded this masterpiece of Heartbreak. The song was written by Joy Byers and Charlie Daniels. Yes, that Charlie Daniels. It was released as the B-side to Kissin' Cousins. It deserved so much better. The song is about a very specific and painful situation. He is in love with a woman who is in a bad relationship with another man. He has to stand by and watch her be mistreated. It hurts me to see him treat you the way that he does. It hurts me to see you sit and cry. He is a helpless bystander to her pain. This is a song about empathetic suffering. Her pain becomes his pain. He can't fix her situation. He can only offer his love and support. If I had a right, I'd take you away. But I don't have a right, so I can only say, I love you. He is trapped by social convention. She belongs to another man. He can't intervene. This powerlessness is agonizing. The misunderstanding here is layered. The other man clearly misunderstands the woman. He doesn't see her value. He treats her badly. The woman, in a way, is misunderstanding her own worth by staying in this relationship. And the singer is misunderstood by both of them. His love is a secret. He has to hide his true feelings. He wants to scream, to fight, to rescue her, but he has to stand there and pretend he's just a friend. Elvis's vocal performance is one of the best of his entire career. It's a stunning display of dynamic control and emotional depth. He sings with a tenderness and a passion that is almost overwhelming. You can feel his anger at the other man. You can feel his deep, aching love for the woman. When he sings the line, "He's not the one for you," it's not a suggestion. It's a statement of absolute truth. The song builds to a huge, dramatic climax. He holds a long, powerful note on the word why. Oh, why can't you see that I love you? It's a cry of pure frustration. He's breaking his silence. He's laying his heart on the line. It's a moment of incredible vulnerability. This song was a rare flash of brilliance in a period that was mostly artistic compromise. It showed that even when he was stuck in the Hollywood machine, the real artist was still in there. He was still capable of this kind of profound emotional expression. But the song was largely ignored. It was a B-side. It was misunderstood by the record company as just another track. They didn't see it for the masterpiece it was. For Elvis, a man who was fiercely protective of the women in his life, this song must have resonated deeply. He was a man who wanted to fix things, to make people happy. The idea of being powerless to help someone he loved must have been a familiar and frustrating feeling. It Hurts Me is the sound of a man with a big heart breaking because he can't stop the suffering of someone he loves. It's a suffering that he, and he alone, seems to understand. Number 5, how does it feel when the world thinks you're happy? On May 26, 1966, Elvis was in Nashville at RCA Studio B. He was there to record the soundtrack for his movie Spin Out. Most of the songs were forgettable, formulaic rock and roll, but then he recorded a song called I'll Be Back. It's a strange, haunting song with a Latin beat. It's completely out of place with the rest of the soundtrack, and it's incredibly sad. The session for this particular song lasted for over 3 hours, an unusually long time for a soundtrack recording from this period. The song is a lie. The title is I'll Be Back, but the lyrics tell a different story. It's about a man who is leaving, and he's pretending it's temporary. But he knows it's forever. When the winter winds are blowing and the fields are white with snow, you'll be hearing I'll Be Back. He's creating a fantasy for the person he's leaving. A fantasy that he'll return when the seasons change. The core of the song is a deep, painful deception. He's trying to protect the other person's feelings by lying to them. But the lie is also for himself. It's too hard to say a final goodbye, so he says, I'll be back instead. He's misunderstanding the nature of truth. He thinks a kind lie is better than a hard truth, but the song's sad melody tells us that he knows he's wrong. His vocal is soft and full of sorrow. There's a resignation in his voice. He's not happy about leaving. He's heartbroken. The music is hypnotic and repetitive. It creates a dreamlike, almost surreal atmosphere. It doesn't sound like a pop song. It sounds like a folk tale or a ghost story, a story of a man who is doomed to wander. The real devastation is in the lines, "But you know I'll never be back." He admits the truth to himself and to the listener, but not to the person he's leaving. This creates a terrible dramatic irony. We know something that one of the characters doesn't. We are in on his secret sadness. He is completely alone in his knowledge. He has to carry the burden of the truth by himself. This song is a perfect metaphor for Elvis's life in the mid-60s. He was living a lie. He was making movies he hated. He was singing songs he didn't believe in. He was pretending to be happy. He was telling the world, "I'll be back," meaning the real Elvis, the rock and roll revolutionary, will return someday. But he must have wondered if that was a lie, if he was too far gone, if the movie character had completely consumed the real man. The world misunderstood him completely at this time. They saw the smiling movie star on the screen. They bought the records. They thought this was the Elvis he wanted to be. They didn't see the artist who was creatively dying inside. They didn't see the man who was so desperate to make real music that he would pour all of his talent and feeling into a forgotten B-side on a forgotten soundtrack album. "I'll be back" is a secret message from a man trapped in a golden cage. A man who is saying goodbye while pretending it's just a "see you later." Number 4, are you playing a part or is this who you are? On the night of August 25th, 1969, Elvis was on stage at the International Hotel in Las Vegas. He was in the middle of his first engagement there, a triumphant return to live performance. He decided to sing a song he had just recently had a hit with, "Are You Lonesome Tonight?" It was a song he had been singing for years. But on this night, something was different. He started singing the song straight, but when he got to the spoken word part, he cracked. He started laughing. He couldn't get through it. The official story is that he saw a bald man in the audience, and it reminded him of one of his backup singers. But the moment feels more complex than that. "Are You Lonesome Tonight?" is a song about performance. The lyrics are a monologue. A man is talking to his former lover. He's asking her if she's lonely. He's remembering their relationship. But he describes it in theatrical terms. "The stage is bare, and I'm standing there with emptiness all around." He's not just a person. He's an actor in a play. Their love story was a performance. The most famous part is the spoken bridge. He compares their relationship to a play. "I saw you and I knew that you had a leading role. He was the star, she was the co-star. But the play had a bad ending. Act 2 was where you started to change and you acted strange." He's accusing her of not playing her part correctly. He misunderstood her. He thought she was one character, but she turned out to be another. The final lines are heartbreaking. "Honey, you lied when you said you loved me, and I had no cause to doubt you. But I'd rather go on hearing your lies than to go on living without you." He knows he was a fool. He knows the whole thing was a fake, but he's so desperate for the performance to continue that he's willing to accept the lies. He would rather live in a beautiful fake play than in a lonely, real world. Now, think about Elvis on stage in Las Vegas. He is literally an actor on a stage. He is performing the role of Elvis Presley. He is surrounded by adoring fans. But is he lonely? He is singing a song about a fake relationship to thousands of people who have a relationship with his image, not with him. The meta layers are staggering. When he starts laughing, it feels like a moment where the mask slips. For a second, the absurdity of his own life hits him. He's this larger-than-life character singing this deeply melodramatic song about a failed romance, and it's all just so. He's a man playing a part. The audience laughs with him. They think it's a funny, charming moment. They misunderstand what's happening. They see a star having a bit of fun. They don't see a man possibly having a small existential crisis in front of them. The Along version, as it came to be known, was even released as a single. It became a novelty hit. The world consumed his moment of potential breakdown as entertainment. This is perhaps the ultimate example of Elvis being misunderstood. His genuine, complex human moment of confusion and amusement and maybe even pain is packaged and sold as a funny outtake. He couldn't even have a moment of spontaneous, strange emotion without it becoming part of the act. The play he was trapped in had no intermission. Number 3, How Blue Can the Moon Really Get? Blue Moon is one of the oldest songs Elvis ever recorded. He cut it at Sun Studio in Memphis on August 19th, 1954. It was one of his very first sessions. Sam Phillips, the owner of Sun, was trying to figure out what to do with this kid. They had tried country songs, they had tried ballads. Then, in a moment of sheer creative genius, bassist Bill Black started playing the song in a high, spooky falsetto. Elvis joined in. The result is one of the eeriest, most haunting recordings ever made. The original song, written by Rodgers and Hart in 1934, is a hopeful tune. A lonely person wishes on the moon for a love, and their wish is granted. Blue moon, you saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. It's sad at the beginning, but it has a happy ending. And then there suddenly appeared before me the only one my arms will ever hold. And Elvis ignores the happy ending. He doesn't even sing those words. He just focuses on the loneliness. He repeats the first verse over and over. He turns the song into a loop of despair. There is no salvation. There is no love found. There is only the lonely person standing alone forever. This is a radical reinterpretation of the song. A complete misunderstanding of its original intent, or perhaps a deeper understanding of its underlying sadness. The sound of the record is what makes it so special. It's drenched in slapback echo, a signature of Sun Records. Elvis's voice is high and ethereal. He sounds like a ghost. His performance is full of strange yelps and moans. It's not a normal vocal performance. It's a piece of sound art. It's unsettling and beautiful at the same time. By focusing only on the lonely part of the song, Elvis creates a character who is trapped in a state of permanent longing. The blue moon is not a magical object that grants wishes. It's a cold, distant witness to his suffering. It's a symbol of his own isolation. He's singing to the moon because there is no one else to sing to. He is fundamentally misunderstood by the universe. His pleas for love go unanswered. This recording shows the artistic vision Elvis had, even at 19 years old. He wasn't just a singer, he was an interpreter. He could take a familiar song and turn it into something completely new and strange and personal. He saw the darkness in the song that nobody else did. He understood the feeling of being alone so profoundly that he could strip away the song's happy ending and reveal the raw core of sadness underneath. You know, the world didn't know what to make of it. It was released as the B-side of Just Because. It was too weird for most people in 1954. It was a commercial failure, it was misunderstood, but over the years, it has become recognized as a work of genius. A piece of proto-psychedelic blues. It's the sound of a young man from the deep south, channeling a loneliness that was as old as the hills. A loneliness so profound it could turn the moon itself blue. Number 2, What If You're the Last One to Know It's Over? I'm Left, You're Right, She's Gone is another classic from the Sun Records era. It was recorded in March 1955. The title alone is a perfect summary of a love triangle and a broken heart. It's a country song with a rockabilly beat. It's deceptively upbeat. The music makes you want to tap your feet. But the lyrics are a story of total confusion and betrayal. The song is about a man whose lover has left him for someone else. But he didn't see it coming. He was completely blind to the truth. Well, you're right, I'm left. She's gone. You're right. And I'm left all alone. He's admitting that his friend, or someone who tried to warn him, was right all along. He was the one who was wrong. He was the one who was living in a fantasy. He describes how he was warned. Well, you told me that she was not the one for me. But he didn't listen. You told me I'd be the one to be alone. He was arrogant. He was sure of her love. He misunderstood the entire situation. He thought he was in a happy, secure relationship. but he was just one part of a drama he didn't even know was happening. His performance is a mix of sadness and a kind of manic energy. He's singing from the perspective of a man whose world has just been shattered. He's still in shock. The fast tempo of the song reflects his racing mind. He's trying to process what just happened. How could he have been so wrong? How could he have been so blind? The core of the song is this feeling of being the fool, the last one to know the truth. It's a deeply humiliating and painful experience to realize that people were talking about you, pitying you, and you had no idea. You were walking around in a bubble of happiness while everyone else knew your heart was about to be broken. This is a profound form of being misunderstood because you have fundamentally misunderstood your own life. The lyrics also show his desperation to believe in her. But I was a fool and I couldn't see. I thought you were wrong and I thought she loved me. He's not just blaming her, he's blaming himself. His own love for her made him blind. He wanted to believe she was perfect. He wanted to believe their love was real. He chose to misunderstand the warning signs. This song, with its simple, direct language, captures a universal feeling. The shock of betrayal, the pain of realizing you were a fool. For a young Elvis, it was another exploration of the darker side of love. Well, it wasn't all holding hands and going to the sock hop. It was about pain and loss and confusion. He understood that love could make you a stranger to yourself. It could make you misunderstand the very world you were living in, and when the truth finally hits, all you're left with is a simple, sad equation. You're right, I'm left, she's gone. You're number one. Are you really there if no one sees you? Lonely Man was recorded on November 7th, 1960. It was for his movie, Willed in the Country. The movie itself is about a troubled young man who is misunderstood by his family and his community. He's a writer, a sensitive soul in a world that doesn't value sensitivity. The song is a perfect summary of the characters and Elvis's state of mind. It's a simple acoustic ballad, just Elvis and his guitar. It's one of his most stripped down and vulnerable recordings. The song is a declaration of solitude. I'm just a lonely man. That's all I'll ever be. It's not a temporary condition. It's a life sentence. He has accepted his fate. He is destined to be alone. This is not a cry for help. It's a statement of fact, a sad, quiet resignation. The lyrics paint a picture of a wanderer. No home, no friends have I. He is completely untethered from the world. He's a ghost passing through life without making a connection. Why is he so lonely? He doesn't really explain. It's just the way he is. It's my destiny. This suggests a deep, fundamental sense of being different, of being unable to connect with other people in a meaningful way. He is the ultimate misunderstood man. People see him, but they don't know him. A lonely man is all they'll see. They see the surface. They see the man walking alone. They don't see the reasons why. They don't see the world of feeling inside him. He is invisible in plain sight. Elvis's performance is incredibly intimate. You can hear his fingers on the guitar strings. You can hear the breath in his voice. It feels like he's in the room with you, confessing his deepest secret. He was just out of the army. He was back in Hollywood, but the rock and roll world had changed. He was trying to become a serious actor. He was in a state of transition. He was likely feeling a sense of dislocation and loneliness himself. This song is the culmination of a theme that runs through his entire body of work. The feeling of being an outsider, of being fundamentally alone even when surrounded by adoring fans. It goes all the way back to Heartbreak Hotel, the lonely man on a lonely street. It's there and I'm in a crowd but oh so alone. It's there in solitaire. This is the core of his artistic identity. The king of rock and roll was also the king of loneliness. The world saw the charisma, the talent, the fame, the money. They saw the man who had everything. They misunderstood. They didn't see the lonely man underneath it all. A man who felt it was his destiny to be alone. A man who could sing about that loneliness with such beauty and truth that he made millions of other lonely people feel, for a few minutes, like they were finally understood. That was his gift. He took his own pain, his own feeling of being misunderstood, and he turned it into art that made the world feel a little less lonely.